Hi guys, Dr. Kisha here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I know I promised you part 2 of when to end a marriage, but I was doing some thinking and I like to think of myself as more of a preventative person. So I wanted to give you signs that your marriage is headed towards a divorce, as opposed to when to call it quits altogether, because I believe that marriage is a serious commitment. It is a covenant between you and God and your partner. So instead of just ending it all together, I wanted to give you some signs so you can implement an intervention, i.e. me or a therapist, before you call it quits and you walk away. So let's get started. Now there's the obvious things such as physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, where I think that a separation or divorce is warranted. And actually a lot of people don't know what emotional abuse consists of. It's behaviors such as threatening behaviors, abandonment, intimidating behaviors, shaming the person, which actually those characteristics are indicative of a personality disorder such as narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder. And hold on, I'll have a video on personality disorders in the future. But those type of things, I think that taking time away from the marriage or dissolving the marriage altogether is a good thing, and you're actually being delivered from that situation. So the following signs that I'm going to share with you are some things that I want you to be aware of, because if they're happening in your marriage currently, you might be on a road to divorce. So number 1, if you or your partner is actively having an affair. Notice I didn't say had. There are marriages and relationships that can recover from an affair. If you guys have put the steps in place to restore your relationship, forgiveness, and move forward, and you're not actively engaging in that type of behavior any longer, you can actually learn some things and grow from that situation. But if you're actively having an affair and you're swept up in the excitement that that relationship brings, to me, that's a no-brainer that you're headed towards a divorce. You are disrespecting your marriage and yourself by engaging in this relationship, in this fake relationship. Affairs don't just start in the bedroom. There's so many things that happen before you end up in that man's bed or at some seedy hotel in the hood. I'm laughing because I have such a vivid imagination. I'm actually imagining people coming out of some nasty hotel. But nevertheless, affairs are enticing because there's no accountability or responsibility in that relationship. Of course that person adores you. They don't know that you're bad with money, that you can't cook, that you're a mama's boy, that you're lazy, that you're complacent, that your idea of a meal is some Kraft macaronis and frozen chicken nuggets. Affairs stroke egos temporarily. What's done in the dark will come to light. So man up or woman up. My mom would tell me, put on your big girl panties and have a conversation with your partner about your needs that are being neglected in the relationship. But if you're on the receiving end of it and your partner has totally disrespected the marriage and living like a single person, then you might have to take some time away from the marriage, a legal separation, to think some things through and put a plan into place. You are headed towards a divorce if you or your spouse is actively engaging in an affair. Do you fantasize about ending your marriage? This could be for various reasons, and I'm not talking about those immature responses such as, oh, I didn't realize he was so short, or I didn't know her snoring would affect me, or I didn't know that he or she couldn't cook. You should have known that before you got married. But if getting your needs met in this marriage takes a ridiculous amount of energy, if you or your spouse don't like one another or respect one another as individuals, if you make threats to leave your marriage during arguments, if you're constantly comparing your spouse to another man or a woman, if your spouse isn't a reliable resource for you in a time of need, then that's a sign that you're headed towards a divorce. Now, those things that I listed are fixable. We can work with that. There are books out there. There are therapists, psychologists out there that you can implement to help you and show you the skills that you need to get things back on track. You can learn communication skills. And when you look for a psychologist or a therapist, make sure that they specialize in communication skills. A lot of people don't know that. They think that all therapists can do everything. That's not necessarily true. We have specialties. So look for a professional that specializes in exactly what you need. If you've stopped having sex, that's a big one, and a lot of people don't necessarily realize that one. Now, sex frequency varies from couple to couple. Some couple only require 1 or 2 times a week of sex, and some couples need it daily, multiple times a day. If you notice that the frequency has drastically decreased, or that you're rejecting your partner or your partner is rejecting you, that's a sign of a bigger issue. If you remember in my video about male emasculation, I briefly touched on what sex provides each gender. In order for a woman to open up sexually, she needs to feel cared for, provided for, loved. When she's stressed out about bills, the kids, the laundry, the housework, she's not gonna be trying to get freaky. She's tired. Side note, men, if your wife has the burden of providing for the family. Now notice I said burden, because I do believe that women can contribute equally to the household, but if she's burdened with this responsibility because you're not stepping up as a partner, and she's stressed out because she's racing home to cook and clean and give the kids a bath and do homework and put them to bed, your sex life is going to go bye-bye. Now women, men don't want sex, they need sex. Men don't necessarily have the same emotional connection to sex as we do. Think of it as like a rechargeable battery. It's fuel for them to get things done. They need that release often. More times than not, women think they're teaching a lesson or training their man to act right when they withhold sex or intimacy from their partner. You're not teaching anything, so sit down and have a conversation with your husband. Write it out beforehand if you need to, but don't be passive aggressive and ration out the sex like a cookie. But if your sex life isn't regular or satisfying and you're not comfortable sharing that with your partner or your desires or your fantasies, then that's a sign that you could be headed towards a divorce. If you've established another life outside of your marriage, if you can find any and every excuse to stay outside of the house, last week you ran a marathon, yesterday you started a PhD program, and tomorrow you're going to be a scuba diving instructor, that's a sign that your needs are not being met and you're not being fulfilled within your marriage. If you got a whole nother set of friends and a family, now that's a whole nother side if you have another family. I've actually counseled couples where the husband did have a whole nother family. He used to buy 2 of everything. But if you notice that you and your spouse have totally different and separate lives and different beds even, then you're one step away from a divorce. Now I know that some marriages stay together for different reasons, and some of the more popular reasons I hear are for the kids or finances. But think about the damage that's being done to your soul or your children's soul when you're staying in such a toxic relationship. Your children deserve to witness healthy interactions, healthy models of love and affection, and you deserve to receive that. You don't think that they feel the stress or hear the fighting, or they know that mommy and daddy are giving each other the silent treatment today? You're not fooling anyone. Kids are smarter than you think. Think about when you were a kid. I know that when I was a kid, I was an intuitive child. Maybe I was a little nosy, but I knew when my parents were fighting. That wasn't hidden from me. And you knew when your parents were fighting. So staying in the marriage for the kids isn't a good reason to me. It actually doesn't make that much sense. I understand that you probably are thinking, oh, you know, I wouldn't see my kids every day, or you know, we owe it to them to kind of work it out. But are you working it out? Have you done everything that you could possibly do to make your marriage better? Like I said previously, just as much as the kids deserve to witness their mother and father give and receive love and affection, you deserve that too. You deserve to be in a fulfilling, loving, compromising marriage where your needs are getting met. But you don't need to compromise your health. So if this is the case, sit down and make a plan financially and think about your future. Think about what steps need to be in place to make your plan work. Now, divorce should never be option number 1. You should do everything within your power to restore and heal your marriage. But I do realize that some of you are in marriages that are corroding your soul. You've yoked yourself to someone who constantly puts blame on you, overwhelms you emotionally, who refuses to extend forgiveness in order for you guys to move forward. Don't let others guilt you into staying in a toxic relationship. I do believe in healing and restoration, and with the help of a professional and God, your marriage can be restored or you can be delivered from it. I hope this video has made you think about some of the things that are taking place in your marriage. My main goal for this channel is to erase the stigma of therapy. And I want to encourage you, and I want to just let you know that therapy isn't a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate sign of strength. When you are sitting in front of somebody and being vulnerable and sharing with them and trying to get all the little skeletons out of your closet and make those connections of past behavior and how it's still affecting you now and how it can affect you in the future, that's not an easy feat. That is not something that everybody can do, but you can do it. And in the topic of marriage, you cannot say that you've tried everything if you haven't been inside of a therapist's office and completed more than one session. Yes, therapy can seem scary, and it might take a couple of different therapists for you to make that connection and feel comfortable with them, but you owe it to yourself to be mentally clear and as effective as possible. Thank you so much for joining me today. Share this video with someone that you think it would be helpful to. Leave a comment below on your signs that a marriage might be headed towards a divorce. If you want to be on the couch with Dr. Kischa, make sure you email me at drkischa, Kischa spelled Kischa, @outlook.com. Until next time, guys, bye.